Jimmy Butler, he's a very interesting player to me.
Just goes to show the offense for the Dallas Stars could not keep up. And when the defense needed to step up, the Lightning's offense just overpowered them.
It makes it almost impossible for their bats to get going or have any confidence in the locker room when you're getting absolutely hosed on the defensive end.
He's like, oh shoot, I don't know where to go with the ball because I haven't been able to think.
It's their defense, man. Minka Fitzpatrick, T.J. Watt.
You saw Luka. I'm very intrigued to see how Luka bounces back after his first playoff series.
For next season, there are massive free agents like Giannis. And if Giannis goes to a team like the Heat, like I said before, I expect them to win the championship. 4 teams who could win the AFC in my mind, legitimately. Steelers, Chiefs, Titans, Ravens.
Stay undefeated when they face the mighty Cowboys with Garrett Gilbert and Tony Pollard.
It was a great series. Game 4 was one of the best games I've ever watched in my entire life.
So happy when the Astros lost because it would definitely be a 2020 thing to have the Astros win a World Series and then you have to hear them.
Now LeBron's a 4-time champion and Anthony Davis gets his first.
It's unacceptable.
Yeah, I was impressed by their game. Braden Point, Andre Palat, Nikita Kucherov, that was the best line in the playoffs, no doubt.
I think you have 2 established number 1 wide receivers in Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup, and I think you have an emerging star in CeeDee Lamb.
Hey everyone, I'm Jared Sandler, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our 49th episode, 1 episode away from the 50th episode. Also, we just dropped a new interview, which was with Coach Mike Grimes. It was great stories. We love doing the interview, so make sure to go check that out. And make sure to check out our previous interviews, and make sure to do that by clicking the interview playlist. But right now, Austin, we're about 2 days away from the NFL draft, so you know what that means. Mock drafts are coming out. Some are less accurate than others, but I'm pretty sure ours are on the accurate side. And disclaimer, this is what we think is going to happen. It doesn't mean this is what they should be doing. And you'll get that pretty quick. As we talk, Austin and I really don't know each other's mock drafts. Except I know, I peeked a little bit at Austin's. So I know, one player is going to what team. But that's pretty much it. So Austin now will be giving our live reactions. Austin, are you going to say the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, I haven't looked at yours at all, but I'm anticipating that you have the same pick here as me. I have Trevor Lawrence, QB, going to the Jaguars. What about you?
No, I don't. I'm kidding. It's a no-brainer. You gotta go Trevor Lawrence. So I do have Trevor Lawrence, as you said.
Yeah, and I don't think this needs much analysis. He was clear, in my eyes at least, clearly the best quarterback in college football last year and has been for the majority of his career at Clemson. I think this is the right pick, and what the pick they're going to make. I think this fits both worlds. I don't think, even if he does turn out to be not as good as another QB, it's not the Jaguars' fault. He's shown everything on tape to show like he should be an Andrew Luck, a Peyton Manning. So if he does flounder, it's not the Jaguars' fault unless they're bad at getting the talent out of him. Do you want to move on to number 2?
They need to surround. I would just add one quick point. They need to surround him so he doesn't turn into what Andrew Luck did. Like, he'd never made it, but that's the only disclaimer.
Yeah, 100% agree.
So, yeah, we can go to number 2.
Yeah, so for my second pick, I assume you're also going to have this as well, maybe not. I have Zach Wilson from the Jets, or the Jets pick. They take Zach Wilson, QB.
Yes, I agree with you there. It's what's going to happen. It's not what I want the Jets to do, but they traded away Sam Darnold, so they need a QB, and all NFL GMs are loving Zach Wilson right now, after Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, it's really close between Justin Fields and Zach Wilson for me. I think those are clear in a way. The 2A and 2B QBs. If a team goes with one of those, I don't think they made necessarily the wrong choice. I, like you, have Justin Fields as the second best QB in this draft, but it is close enough where it's understandable. Yeah, I don't think that's a crazy pick to pick Zach Wilson over Justin Fields, despite the fact that both of us think he is the better selection.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I don't really know what's happening right now with the perception of Justin Fields. To me, I have a relative that is a Clemson fan, and so I share that pursuit. And what Justin Fields did to Clemson really impressed me, and that's why I think he'd be a great pickup. But NFL GMs disagree with our sentiments, so and Zach Wilson's probably going to be pretty good too. But that's not where my argument lies, and we'll get to that later. So I think we can move on to the third pick.
Yeah, so with the third pick, I have Trey Lance being taken by the 49ers at number 3, QB. What about you?
Well, we did share, and I'm sure everyone listening, Ian Rappaport reported that it's between Mac Jones and Trey Lance right now for the 49ers. So I'm going with Mac Jones. I've heard Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones, while the scouts want Trey Lance. I think the head coach wins out on this one. Mac Jones goes. It's a good pick because you have everything around Mac Jones at the moment, but we haven't seen Mac Jones without everything around him. Like, look at his wide receivers, look at his offensive line, look at his running back, look at his head coach. But he could definitely turn out well. And I think if he sits behind Jimmy Garoppolo for 1 year, that'd be a great thing for him.
Yeah, I'm going with Trey Lance for most of the same reasons. I think the scouts went out because Kyle Shanahan hasn't had the greatest track record as a decision maker at times. We've seen that in the second half of 2 Super Bowls. So I think he's like, okay, I'll trust you guys this time. Goes with Trey Lance, and he's a raw talent. I think he would have to sit behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a season 2, but I think he is a better QB than Mac Jones, in my opinion. And while it is close between those two, they're probably 3A and 3B. But yeah, we will move on. And with the fourth pick, I have Kyle Pitts going to the Falcons. What about you?
Yeah, that was the pick I saw when I peeked accidentally. With the fourth pick, I'm going with a fourth quarterback with a trade, Austin, with the Denver Broncos between the Atlanta Falcons. I think if Justin Fields slips out of the top 3, the new GM, Patton, is going to make moves and draft Justin Fields. So that's why I'm going at number 4 right now.
Yeah, I mean, my selection is I don't think the Falcons are going to trade the fourth pick. Kyle Pitts, I think, is just that good. I think he's the next Travis Kelce, the next, not Rob Gronkowski, because Rob Gronkowski's way bigger than Kyle Pitts is. I compare him to a Travis Kelce, a Tony Gonzalez, one of the faster tight ends that is really skilled. He's more of a speed tight end, a Darren Waller, same difference. Both of those guys, they're very similar, and I think that's a perfect comparison between the two. Both are Travis Kelce and Darren Waller, top 5 tight ends in the league right now. So I feel like those are 2 guys to be compared to. And if you are, you're probably pretty good. Do you have anything else, or can we move to number 5?
No, I definitely agree. We can move to number 5.
So at number 5, I have Penei Sewell going to the Bengals at O-line. Despite the fact that I feel like many people want Ja'Marr Chase probably going there because they're buddies. If the Bengals choose Ja'Marr Chase, they are doing this to the detriment of Joe Burrow. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I have Penei Sewell as well. We've talked about this however long since Joe Burrow got injured, offensive line. And the Bengals are lucky if Penei Sewell is there at 5. The run on quarterbacks is what slides him down. If there's like 2 quarterbacks, he'd probably be gone. If there were 2 legitimate quarterbacks and like a huge gap, Penei Sewell would probably be number 3. But a lot of these GMs like the QBs right now, so Penei Sewell falls to 5. And as soon as the number 4th pick turns in their pick, Bengals should be waiting at the desk. Like, here you go, Penei Sewell. And then then you can get a wide receiver later in the round.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase.
Sorry to
is a
interrupt,
good
but I would not be surprised if somebody trades with the Falcons to get Panay at number 4. It's 100% possible because I do believe while the Falcons I don't think need O-line help, their O-line is not a bad O-line like the Bengals. And Kyle Pitts I think will help them more become a more dynamic offense because they already lost Austin Hooper. If it wasn't the Falcons, Panay is the 4th best player in this draft. Like I would probably at my rankings, I'd probably go Lawrence, Fields, Wilson, and then Sewell. Like that is the top 4. And the only reason why Pitts goes above them is because that's not necessarily the need of the Falcons. That's normally how draft goes. I believe the Falcons are making the right choice if they do take Pitts and don't decide to trade the pick because it's not a need. Why would you take something you don't need? I wouldn't understand. I don't understand when teams just take a player. Oh, he's the best player. You don't have to always take the best player if you feel like another player suits you better. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree with that. And as you mentioned, Chase would just be terrible. Like, okay, he's friends with Joe Burrow. That's not you. He can't. Joe Burrow can't throw to Chase if he's getting his butt handed to the ground every second he snaps the ball.
Yeah, this is in
also
college.
Yeah, there. Even though like they're starting to mend, there's still a few differences.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think we can move on to number 6.
Yeah, so at 6, I have Jamar Chase going to the Dolphins. One of their needs, they need to pair somebody with Devontae Parker. They have to. Devontae Parker's starting to get doubled because of his elite ability to catch the ball, and Gesicki is getting guarded by a strong safety. You need another guy out there that Tua can throw the ball to. So I have Jamar Chase going at number 6.
I agree with you there. 4th time today in this episode. I agree with Chase. And this is why, like, the Dolphins traded down, got some picks from the 49ers, then immediately traded up to the number 6 pick because they either wanted Kyle Pitts, if he falls that far, Jamar Chase, Devontae Smith, or Jalen Waddle. They want an offensive weapon. That's why they're at number 6.
If the Bengals do make the mistake of taking Chase, Sewell will go to the Dolphins. I have no doubt. They will take advantage of that immediately. You can move whoever they took. I think I can't remember the lineman they took last year, but whoever it was, they would move him to right tackle or just move Sewell to right tackle. I have no doubt in my mind that the Dolphins are Brian Flores and that organization are intelligent enough to make the right decision there. We've seen how they rebuild. They're a smart team. So do you have an update?
Yes, Austin Jackson from
I knew that. Why did I
the University of Southern California.
Yeah, I knew that. I should have said
of course, we know who else went to USC. The great Jared Sandler, the Outsider's Opinion interview alum.
I thought it was
almost
Austin Jackson. I should have just said it, but I didn't want to be wrong, so I didn't. But yeah, they would just probably move. I think you just move Sewell to right tackle, continue developing Austin Jackson at left tackle, and then you just have the best a young tackle duo to grow together. And at that point, Tua can run anywhere he wants. Are you ready to move on to 7?
Yeah, he can sit back for like 7 seconds, sipping a nice drink, and then throw the ball.
Yeah, he can just sit down for a second. So at 7, I have a trade. The Broncos trade with the Lions. This is where they do take Justin Fields. I also have the Broncos taking Justin Fields, but I have him at 7 because I don't feel like the Falcons want to trade that pick. But I don't feel like they feel the Broncos feel like they need to trade. They're not going to draft. The Bengals aren't going to draft Fields. They have Burrow. The Dolphins, I do not think, are going to draft Fields. They have Tua. So I think they trade with the Lions to stop the Panthers from making that choice, just in case. Just being, I know they have the 9th pick, but they're like, hey, let's be careful here. And then they take Justin Fields. What do you have?
I have Devontae Smith. I have the Lions keeping that pick, and I have them taking Devontae Smith. You make good, not opinions, but good takes on Justin Fields falling to the Broncos and not going to 4. I think they're just afraid of some other team going up to 4. Because I think the Falcons would listen to that pick if they get the right offer. And especially if Fields falls to number 4, they can really elevate it because they're on the borderline of rebuild. So if you can get a lot of picks and kind of avoid that rebuild, then that'd be pretty good in my opinion. So that's why I have the Falcons trading that pick. But a good thing we have Justin Fields going to the Broncos because we understand they're probably done with Drew Lock. Even though I disagree with a little bit, I understand Fields being there. So I think we can move on.
Yeah, so at number 8, I have Rashawn Slater, an O-lineman, going to the Panthers. The Panthers, we know, need O-line help. They got Sam Darnold. They had Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey's had injury problems. Sam Darnold hasn't had help with the Jets. So they're like, we traded for Darnold. Now we're getting an O-lineman. We have to protect him. What do you think?
Yeah, that all those reasons were my reasons. Offensive line help, Sam Darnold.
Oh, so you also chose Rashawn Slater?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have him. So promise, did not see each other's picks.
Yeah, we swear. So you ready to move on to 9?
Yes.
Okay, so at number 9, I have Jalen Waddle going to the Lions at 9 because they obviously traded with the Broncos in my draft. So now the Lions draft at 9, and they take Jalen Waddle. I feel like Jalen Waddle is the better wide receiver because of his speed. Devontae Smith had the speed and the route running. I would trust it more, but at the NFL level, cornerbacks can guard better, defend better. And I just trust that Jalen Waddle can grow to become that wide receiver that has great route running. I don't know if Devontae Smith can get that speed, especially with his weight. He can be pushed around by big corners like J.C. Horn, who we will get to later. So, yeah, that is my reasoning why the Lions at 9 take Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, you mentioned Devontae Smith's weight. That's a big thing with him. So I think that's one thing. But at number 9, you had this player go to the same team I had, and that is Kyle Pitts going to the Falcons at the number 9th overall pick. So they get assets and they get Kyle Pitts because I think I was really debating would Kyle Pitts fall this far past the Panthers, but I thought they would go offensive line help.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think, man, I would have to look back at it again and see where I would have Pitts falling to if that happened. Maybe he goes to the Dolphins, even though they have Gesicki. I don't know. It's a close call. They probably wouldn't take him because of Gesicki and take Jamar Chase. It's close. I have to think about it. But yeah, that's another makes sense. I mean, same team, so it's not all that difficult. So I think we can move on to number 10. I have Patrick Surtain, the second, going to the Cowboys. Cornerback. They need secondary help, and this will assist them with that.
Yeah, they just need defensive help, but let's just single it down to cornerback. Patrick Surtain is a guy I think I've been preaching to you off the podcast of like, I want this guy so bad. And there is, of course, J.C. Horn still on the board. I just like the duo of Trevon Diggs and Patrick Surtain, former college buddies, and Surtain went to Alabama. Alabama is such an incredible job of developing young players, and I think I want a safe pick because I want this to work out. While J.C. Horn may be a great player, I just want Surtain because he went to Alabama. Trevon Diggs went to Alabama. He's doing great. So that's why I want Surtain with the Cowboys, and I would jump so high right now if this actually happens on Thursday night.
Yeah, I feel like some people may be confused because we're like, oh, don't draft Jamar Chase. This isn't college. But now we're saying draft Surtain because of college. It's different. They both play in the secondary. The Cowboys need defensive help. Surtain is, in my opinion, the best corner in the draft. It all adds up, and it's not just because they went to college that we think they should be together, but it does add something to it. If Jamar Chase didn't go to college with Joe Burrow, he wouldn't even be in the conversation. So I feel like we had to show that it wasn't just because they went to the same college that we're choosing him, but we do feel like he is the best choice for the Cowboys at 10.
Yeah, and just to add about Chase, the more pressing need is offensive line, I think, in both our opinions. And you have the best offensive lineman in this draft, Penei Sewell. So sitting at your board, so you got to go with him, even though it is enticing to get Chase.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like we can move to 11. Here I have a trade. Now, this one's going to blow your mind. I have the Bears taking Mac Jones at 11. The Giants trade down, and they we'll get to their pick later. But I have the Bears realizing, hey, we may need a quarterback, so we're gonna have him sit behind Andy Dalton for a season and take Mac Jones at 11. What do you think about that?
That's a good pick. I won't give anything away in what I do have one more trade left, but that is a good thing. But they better fix the offensive line because you now have 3 quarterbacks where they need an offensive line. So, like, their most pressing need right now is offensive line. While I understand the move for quarterback, you need to fix that offensive line. Maybe call Mitchell Schwartz, Eric Fisher, Fisher, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or them, and just see like, hey, we'll pay you whatever you want to come here and help our line. But that's just a quick thought. I see Mac Jones going to the Bears.
So who do you have at 11?
At 11, I have Micah Parsons. I have the Giants staying put. Micah Parsons, a great linebacker. Giants want to just have some defensive help, so I have him taking a linebacker with Micah Parsons.
Okay. We can move on to 12 now, where I have Devontae Smith going to the Eagles, wide receiver. The Eagles need wide receiver help. They have a young quarterback now, and they've really struggled on the wide receiver side of the ball since they won the championship. And while I think O-line is an issue and will be addressed later in the draft, I feel like picking up Devontae Smith with the 12th pick is a steal, and they will get it.
Yeah, so I have another Alabama wide receiver going to the Eagles, and that is Jalen Waddle for the same reasons you said, but Devontae Smith got taken in my draft, so Jalen Waddle falls to the Eagles. And he pairs up back with Jalen Hurts.
Yep. Both would.
So I think,
but
yeah. So I think we can move on to 13.
Yeah, so at 13, I have Christian Darrisaw, O-lineman, going to the Chargers. Justin Herbert, that's all I really need to say. They need to protect him. He's an outstanding rookie. Last year was a rookie QB, and I think he's the future of this franchise. And it's necessary for him to be protected so that they can beat teams like the Chiefs or the Raiders or anybody else in their division.
Yeah, so I have a lineman going, but that is Elijah Vera-Tucker, the guard. They do have some tackle help, but I just have them going guard, really seal up that inside, as they did sign Corey Linsley from the Packers for Justin Herbert.
Okay, so I feel like we can move on to 14. I have Kwity Paye, defensive end or edge rusher, going to the Vikings. They need defensive help right now, immediately right now, and so I think they take the best defensive end in the draft.
Yeah, that's who I have going to the I have the same pick. So
yeah, to the Vikings
for the same reasons as you.
Yeah. Next at 15, I have Micah Parsons going to the Patriots. I feel like the Patriots after last year, Dante Hightower opting out really showed their linebacking core is weak besides him, and so they will address it this upcoming season and by taking Micah Parsons and pairing him with Bill Belichick and every other great linebacker that has played for the Patriots.
I foreshadowed a trade, so this is where my trade happens. Austin, what is the quarterback left on my board if you've been
Trey Lance.
Track? Yep. And of course, you had them making a trade for a different quarterback, but I have the Bears trading up with the Patriots to get Trey Lance to sit behind Andy Dalton. As I just felt, I almost had the Steelers in this position, but I'm like, no, the Bears would do this. Well, I just feel they would do it. May not be for the best reasons and could definitely blow up in their face, but this front office is in need right now.
I find it absolutely insane that we both have the Bears trading out to get a QB. I find it so funny. I swear I did not look. I swear. That's really good. I like that. But I feel like we can move on to 16. At 16, I have Jalen Phillips, edge rusher / defensive end, going to the Cardinals. They're also a team in need for edge help. So I feel like it is necessary for them to take him.
Yeah, so I have not let J.C. Horn, I have not predicted him go to a team yet. Cardinals just lost Patrick Peterson, so I have J.C. Horn going to the Cardinals.
Got it. So at 17, I have Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa going to the Raiders, a linebacker. The Raiders have needed linebacker help for a number of years now, and I think they will address it in the first round of this draft by taking Jeremiah Owusu Koromoa.
I did not look at your pick for the Raiders, but that's who I've gone to the Raiders too. They need a linebacker. 6 times. 6 times the exact same player.
Yeah, it's tough. Team. I doubt we're going to have this one because this one's kind of a stretch. But at 18, I have Alex Leatherwood going to the Dolphins, O-lineman. I feel like they realize that they're going to need O-lineman help. And if Sewell didn't fall into their lap by a mistake by the Bengals, I think at 18 they take Alex Leatherwood, an Alabama player who's played with Tua, and addresses a spot of need.
So I do have an Alabama player, but he is not on the offensive line. He is the running back, Najee Harris, going to the Dolphins. I asked you about the running back for the Dolphins. Before this podcast, he's a catch out of the backfield, and Dolphins are going to want a bruiser, and they're going to get Najee Harris, giving more weapons to pair with Jamar Chase, who they just drafted for Tua, so he can take a big step.
Got it. And I think that's a good pick also. They'll need a pass catcher out of the backfield like Myles Gaskin, and Najee Harris will help at running the ball more. But I feel like we can move on to 19, where I have Elijah Vera Tucker, a guard, an O-lineman, going to the Washington football team. They need to address the other guard, and I think they do that by taking Vera Tucker.
So actually, I have Washington taking a safety, the ball hawk safety from TCU, Trevon Moehrig. I think they're just going to build this defense up and they did just make a trade for the Dolphins, so I think they feel they're good on offensive line. So they're going to take a safety right now and build up that defense so they can even get scarier.
Yeah, and I have at 20, I have the Giants because they traded with the Bears, taking Rashad Bateman, wide receiver. The Giants need another wide receiver. They need more help for Daniel Jones, and I think it's important to address that as soon as possible because they are going to need help to contend with the great defenses like the football team in their division.
So at number 20, I have the Patriots who traded with the Bears, and I have Christian Barmore. Is that who you said?
No, I said Rashad Bateman.
Okay, sorry. My bad. I was checking something on my mock draft, but I have Christian Barmore going to Patriots. I feel Bill Belichick would like to build up that defensive line and put some pressure on the young quarterbacks of Josh Allen, Zach Wilson, and Tua Tagovailoa. I think we can move on.
Yeah, so at 21, I have the Colts taking Tevin Jenkins, a lineman. Like we said before, their tackle retired, and so I think they take an O-lineman here to help assure Carson Wentz a clean pocket.
I'm actually going to go on the opposite side and go with Jalen Phillips, the edge rusher for the Colts. They're going to cause some pressure and have Trevor Lawrence have some nightmares.
Yeah, both of those are good picks. They need defensive end help. I just feel like their O-line is more of a necessary issue because they just lost their tackle. But I understand why they would go edge rusher, especially in the first round. Next, at 22, I have the Titans taking Samuel Cosmi. He's an O-lineman that went to Texas, I believe. I feel like they need to address the fact that they took Isaiah Wilson and he floundered immediately. And they do that by taking a O-lineman here and making sure that he doesn't do what Isaiah Wilson did.
I agree with you on the position, O-lineman. And to the Titans, I have Christian Darrisaw going to them.
Got it. So at 23, I finally have J.C. Horn coming off the board. and I have him going to the Jets. I feel like the Jets need defensive help, and with a new defensive coach, I feel like he'll be inclined to take defensive positions, and so he takes the larger Richard Sherman-like corner, J.C. Horn, and tries to mold him into being, like I said, like Richard Sherman.
That's a great pick. I have the Jets doing for Zach Wilson what they did not do for Sam Darnold, and that is selecting an offensive lineman, and that starts with the center, Landon Dickerson, that played for Alabama. Jets select him, start building up that O-line, as they did select a tackle in last year's draft, so just adds on to the piece.
Yeah, so at 24, I have the only running back in the first round that I have selected. I had the Steelers taking Najee Harris. I feel like they need running back help. They lost James Conner, and their running back situation has been bad, to say the least, over the past couple seasons. So I have Harris going to the Steelers.
When you said running back, you made me freeze up a little bit because I also have a running back, and I was afraid you were going to say Travis Etienne because that's who I was picking. But I'm glad we both have running back for the same reason. It's just Najee Harris is to the Dolphins in my draft, so I have Etienne going to the Steelers.
Yeah, both make sense. They need a running back. They have to take one. Whatever one's there, I feel like they take. Or both are there. I think they go Harris. But, I mean, I guess we'll have to find out. At 25, I have the Jaguars taking a wide receiver, Terrace Marshall Jr. He went, I believe, to LSU. And I feel like the Jaguars are going to need to help Trevor Lawrence with passing options. And there have been some injuries lately on the Jaguars wide receiver side of the ball. So I think they take Terrace Marshall Jr.
So I do have the Jaguars giving help to Lawrence, but is on the offensive line with an offensive tackle, Jalen Mayfield. Building up that offensive line so Lawrence can have some protection, as I have the Colts going selecting an edge rusher. So Jags just getting some offensive line help.
Got it. So at 26, I have the Browns taking Azeez Ojulari, defensive end or edge rusher. The Browns need more defensive help, and I feel like they address it now in the draft.
I do have the Browns going with an edge rusher, but it is Joe Tyron. Same reasons. I just feel they're going to add to some depth, as they both have Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney, but I just have them adding another edge rusher because you can't have too many.
Yeah, and I think the reason why, even though they have Clowney, is Clowney has had some injury history recently, and I do not think it's a bad thing to do. Getting some backup help. Their defense was fine last year, but I do feel like they're going to need to address when injuries happen. Who do we have backing him up? Because Denzel Ward, when he got out, it really helped hampered their defensive side. So I feel like they address in this round their edge rushing to make sure if Jadeveon Clowney goes out, they have a defensive end or / edge rusher to back him up. So at 27, I have Kadarius Toney going to the Ravens, wide receiver. I feel like the Ravens need to address their wide receiver side of the ball. Lamar Jackson needs some help, and I feel like they addressed that with this pick.
I have them going a different route. They just traded Orlando Brown, and I have them going to Tevon Jenkins, as the Ravens did make a good pick, as Orlando Brown wanted to get out, but they got some great picks. But they fill that need, keeping Lamar Jackson upright with the tackle Tevon Jenkins. I think we can move on to 28 right now. That I have Zaylen Collins, the linebacker for the Saints, as I mentioned in our previous episode, which you should definitely go check out. Saints had to cut Quan Alexander because of the cap room. So I have them selecting linebacker, as they do have Demario Davis, but I have them going with Zavon. I have them going linebacker. So what's your pick, Austin?
I also have Zaylen Collins for the same reasons. Yeah,
What's the number?
I feel
What?
like the Saints need a linebacker because Demario Davis is getting older. So I have Zayvon Collins going to the Saints at 28. Um, at 29, I have Creed Humphrey, a lineman, going to the Packers. They have to address the fact that they're losing everybody to the Chargers or to injuries, and so I think they take Creed Humphrey here to help shore up that offensive line.
I'm gonna go different route for the Packers. One guy we haven't mentioned is the corner Caleb Fairley, who has some back issues. And Austin, as we talked about last episode, you have that image burned in your mind. And by the way, I did not forget the nightmares from Aaron Rodgers that I've had the previous nights because of the Jared Cook thing you mentioned. I'm over it though. I'm over it. It's okay. But I have you selecting a corner even though he is dealing with some problems. I think the Packers can let him develop as they have Kevin King, but they would like to replace him, and I think Fairley can do that for him.
Yeah, so with 30, I have Caleb Farley, so just one pick away. We were really close to getting that right again. But I think the Bills need to pair Tre'Davious White. I just cannot speak today. Uh, with another lockdown corner. They had Josh Norman last year, and he played okay. He did score a touchdown, I think, week 17 against whatever team they played against. But I feel like they address their defensive side. I think they played the Dolphins just to so you can check. But I feel like they take Caleb Farley to help shore up the defensive side, as their offensive side with Cole Beasley, uh, Josh Allen, and everybody else will really help them get through a tough AFC where they have a lot of potent offenses.
It was the Dolphins in Week 17, so you are correct there. I have the Bills addressing the defensive line with Gregory Rousseau. I feel you can never have too much pressure, and I feel the Bills are definitely going to try to take down the Chiefs. While I was thinking the Bills could fight the Chiefs after that Orlando Brown trade, I'm back on the Chiefs side. But I think the Bills try to get defensive end so they can try to pressure Mahomes against that newly built offensive line. I think we can move on to 31.
Yeah, 31. I had the Chiefs taking Greg Newsome II, a cornerback. Like we mentioned earlier, Tyrann Mathieu can't run the entire secondary, and because they just re-signed Daniel Sorensen, their other safety, I feel like they take a corner. What do you think?
So you said Chiefs, did they trade back up to the Ravens?
Yeah,
Okay. They did another trade?
yeah.
Okay. So you got 3 trades.
I have 4.
Do you have 4? Oh.
Yeah, 32 hasn't been mentioned yet.
Okay. Little teaser right there. I have the Ravens keeping with the pick and getting Elijah Moore to help out the wide receiver to help Lamar Jackson take another step in the passing game.
Got it. So I have 32nd. I have the Packers taking Elijah Moore. So the Bucks trade that pick down because they realize, hey, we are going to need to take the Bucks realize we just signed all 22 of our starters, and we'll just take some guys in the second round and help make them the next Julian Edelman or something. And the Packers realize that they need to help Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers on the offensive side, and they take Elijah Moore, who you just mentioned.
So that's a good pick. I have the Bucks staying here, and you mentioned bringing everyone back, and we've talked about it before.
Can I guess?
But I'll just ask you. Yeah.
David Mills.
No.
Dang it.
But what made the Bucks do so well against the Chiefs in the championship besides Tom Brady, defensive side of the ball?
Well, DNs.
I'm also going to add defensive tackle, which is what the pick I have the Bucks selecting, which is Levi Onwuzurike. The Bucks face some trouble bringing Ndamukong Suh back, so I have them getting another D tackle to pair with Vita Vea, which I mentioned as a need in our previous episode. So I have them fulfilling that need. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's a good move, especially for the long term. after everybody retires or moves on to a different team. You're not always going to re-sign all 22 of your starters. I think that's a normal thing. So yeah, long-term wise, I think that's a good move. Yeah, it makes sense. And I think that concludes it, right?
Yeah, first ever mock draft in Outsiders Opinions history where Austin and I picked our own picks the same times. I believe 7 times, if I'm correct. I don't know if it was more Austin, but just goes to show how we are developing the know what the other person is thinking so that we pick the same player. As our next episode will be the 50th episode, so make sure to go check that out, as that is 50 episodes we've recorded in our history. So thank you all for who have been listening since day one. And that first episode, drop down in the comments which episode that is. Speaking of our 50th episode, that will be the NHL Division Power Rankings right before the playoffs. There's a playoff push right now. Hopefully the Stars can make it. I have yet to check my phone about the Carolina Hurricanes game. I hope I get some happiness. But make sure to check out for that. Thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.